material today. Specifically, a really detailed recap of the first season of The Last of Us TV series.
Right.
Think of this as your fast track, really, to understanding the whole story. We're pulling out the most important bits, surprising facts, key insights, straight from this look back. Our mission, basically to guide you through Joel and Ellie's journey, the terrifying world they're in, and, well, those unforgettable characters they meet along the way.
Yeah.
So get ready for a deep dive into this post-apocalyptic landscape shaped by, well, a very particular kind of threat.
And this recap, it really sets the scene right from the get-go, even before the main events. What struck me first is how it pulls out that moment from 1968.
Oh, the talk show segment.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Warning about parasitic fungi. It seems like an odd place to start, maybe. But the source really emphasizes it.
Well, I think the material wants to stress just how long this potential threat has been kind of lurking in the background, you know? It specifically calls out that these fungi are, well, they're not like anything else. Not plant, not animal.
And their power.
Ugh.
Pretty terrifying is described here. Controlling the brain, consuming the host from the inside out.
And the recap makes it absolutely clear, doesn't it? There's no cure. Once you're got, you're got.
Which brings up the big question. Why now? Why humans? The recap points to that critical factor.
Body heat, right?
Yeah, normally our body temperature is just too high for these fungi to really take hold. But, and this is the chilling part, it mentions global warming.
As the trigger.
As a potential trigger, yeah. The worrying idea that the fungus could evolve, adapt to warmer temperatures, and suddenly humans are viable hosts. The source even says it could lead to, well, humanity's end.
Wow. Okay, so from that really ominous warning, the material jumps us forward. We're in 2003, the eve of the outbreak.
Right, meeting Joel and Sarah. Just, normal life. Or what seems like it.
But the recap points to those little signs first, doesn't it? Before it all goes sideways.
It does. It describes these subtle shifts that just escalate really fast.
Yeah.
Strange behavior from the neighbors.
Right, the twitching.
Yeah, that. And then more military presence, news reports kind of filtering in about riots and chaos elsewhere. It builds that tension. Normal life is fraying.
And then, outbreak night. The recap walks through that frantic escape. It notes how the chaos really mirrored the game's intensity.
And the tragedy hits so fast, Sarah gets injured. And then that awful moment, killed by a soldier. Just devastating. It's the moment that defines Joel, really.
Definitely. So jump 20 years. The recap paints this really grim picture, doesn't it? The world Joel lives in now.
Oh, yeah. Dead cities everywhere. What's left of humanity is crammed into these controlled zones, the QZs.
Under Fedra.
Under Fedra, yeah. The source describes them as this harsh, almost tyrannical military rule. Like a remnant of the U.S. government enforcing extreme martial law. Super bleak.
But where there's that kind of oppression, you usually find resistance.
Exactly. And the recap highlights the Fireflies. They're positioned as the main group pushing back, trying to liberate people from Fedra.
And in this world, Joel's initial goal, according to this material, it's pretty small scale, isn't it?
Very narrow focus. Just find a battery for his car, find his brother Tommy. That's it. Keep your head down.
And that's right where Ellie comes in. He meets Marlene, the Firefly leader, gets the proposition, take this girl, Ellie, to another Firefly base.
Seems like a simple job on the surface.
Yeah. But this recap makes it clear this is what kicks everything off. This is the start of the real journey.
So moving on, the recap digs into episode 2. And this gives us that crucial bit about the origin of the outbreak.
The Jakarta connection.
Right. Linked to infected flour. Apparently, it started with missing factory workers there. And it spread so fast that even bombing the whole city, which the government did, it didn't work. It couldn't contain it.
And here's that little detail the recap pulls out, connecting back. It suggests Sarah only survived outbreak day initially because she didn't eat the neighbor's cookies.
Because they were out of flour.
Exactly. Such a small thing, but life or death consequences, it's kind of mind-blowing.
The recap then really paints a picture of the world they're traveling through. Ruined cities being swallowed by nature, bomb craters, plants taking over.
Then those unsettling signs of the infected, maybe trapped underground or dormant. It's visually stark, dangerous.
It also gives a bit more on the infected themselves. That description of pale skin, the fungal patches, and spreading through bites or scratches, the usual way.
But maybe the scariest thing this recap pulls from this part is about the fungal network.
Oh yeah, that's nightmare fuel. The idea that they can communicate underground through the fungus itself.
And disturbing just one.
Can alert hundreds.
Yeah.
Sends them swarming. That adds a whole new level of tension to just walking around.
Their first big test, as the recap describes it, is facing the clickers.
Right. Covered in fungus, super tough, incredible hearing because they're blind. The source mentions this was a really difficult, scary encounter early on.
And their first destination, that Firefly rendezvous point, turns out to be a bust.
Totally overrun, yeah.
Yeah.
Infected everywhere, which leads to Tess making that sacrifice.
Knowing she's bitten, she stays behind, buys some time, gets immolated. It's brutal.
Really powerful. So then, episode 3, and the recap makes a big point here about how this deviates from the game.
Bill and Frank.
Exactly. In the game, Bill's there, but Frank is just like a note, basically. Here, their story is central. It's this whole self-contained thing.
The material describes Bill as this ultimate survivalist, right? Last guy in his fortified town, full of traps, grumpy, isolated.
Very much so. And then Frank just falls into his life, literally into one of his traps.
And the recap really focuses on how the relationship develops from that, unexpectedly finding this deep connection, love even, in the middle of all this ruin.
Yeah, it shows their shared life, the normal stuff, eating, arguing, loving each other. The source emphasizes how they found this pocket of peace, enjoyed their time until,
Frank gets sick after a decade together, and he asks Bill to help him end it peacefully.
And the way it ends, the recap describes it as just incredibly poignant, that final meal, the wine, choosing to go together.
And the song, Long, Long Time, playing. The recap points out that was the radio code from episode 1, Frank's signal.
Right, a nice little callback.
Yeah.
Then Joel arrives later, finds Bill's note, that message urging Joel to open up, protect the people you care about, and he leaves Joel everything, the truck, the weapons.
The recap definitely notes the huge emotional impact this episode had, kind of a standout moment.
For sure. Okay, moving into the next chunk, episodes 4 and 5. Episode 4 gets a brief mention in the recap. Continuing the journey, some lighter moments apparently, nods to the game.
But the source specifically points out no infected in that one.
Yeah, interestingly. Bit of a breather, maybe? But then episode 5 hits hard. Kansas City.
The Hunters Uprising.
Yeah, the recap details this brutal takeover from Fedra, led by Kathleen. But it emphasizes the cost, the destruction, the suffering of the regular people caught in the middle. Suggests it was a consequence of Fedra being so harsh in the first place.
And this is where we meet Henry and Sam, hiding out, running low on supplies.
Their paths cross with Joel and Ellie when they see Joel taking out some hunters.
And Henry comes up with a plan, an alliance.
Right. He knows a way out through the tunnels under the city. The recap explains the backstory there. Fedra forced people, infected and uninfected, down there years ago. But Henry thinks they're empty now.
So they go down there. The recap mentions finding unsettling signs of what happened, like an abandoned nursery, reminders of the old world.
And Joel's relationship with Henry starts to change a bit. Joel apologizes for being harsh initially. He realizes Henry's not just another scavenger.
Then Henry drops that bombshell, his confession.
That he was an informant for Fedra, but only to get medicine for Sam, who had leukemia. The recap frames this as this huge sacrifice he made for his little brother, his only family left.
But the escape plan, it goes wrong. Badly wrong.
Yeah, they get outside the tunnels and boom, surrounded by Kathleen and the remaining hunters.
And then just utter chaos. A fuel truck crashes.
Which draws this massive horde of infected up from underground, from the very tunnels they just came through, including a bloater.
Which the recap describes as just this massive, nearly bulletproof tank of an infected.
Terrifying. And the source notes the horde just tears through the hunters.
And Kathleen, focused only on getting revenge on Henry.
Gets taken out by an infected child. Kind of ironic, grimly fitting.
They manage to get away, find temporary safety in a house across the river, and the recap draws this really clear contrast here between Henry and Joel.
Yeah, Henry's presented as younger, maybe more openly caring, willing to do anything for Sam, contrasting with Joel's more hardened, closed-off nature at this point.
The material also highlights that bond between Ellie and Sam, like sisters, it says, finding these little moments of childhood, playing games, despite everything.
Which makes the end even more brutal. Sam shows Ellie he's been bitten.
Asks her if infected people are still them inside. God, that's heavy.
And Ellie, in this desperate moment, tries to use her own blood on his bite, maybe hoping her immunity could somehow save him. It's heartbreaking.
And the next morning, devastation. Sam's turn. Henry has to.
He has to shoot him. And then immediately turns the gun on himself. Just can't live with it.
The recap really stresses the huge psychological impact of this on Joel, but especially on Ellie, highlighting that note she leaves on Sam's grave. I'm sorry. Just gut-wrenching.
Yeah, a real turning point for her. Okay, so moving into the next leg of the journey, episodes 6 through 8. Episode 6 picks up 3 months later. It's winter now.
Joel and Ellie stop at this remote house. An elderly couple gives them supplies,
And a
directions.
warning, right? Avoid the river of death. Too many bodies, too many infected.
But the recap notes they ignore the warning. Typical.
Leads to that encounter with the armed group. The tracker dogs don't alert, so they're okay, but it's tense. And it pushes them towards Jackson.
Which is where Ellie finds safety with Maria, and Joel has that huge reunion with Tommy.
Very emotional. The recap describes Jackson as this safe, functioning community inside a city, a real sanctuary. Ellie stays with Maria for a bit.
But the material points out Joel's condition here. He's showing his age, feeling weak, tired, even his hearing is going a bit.
Yeah, the journey's taking its toll. And feeling that vulnerability, he makes a tough call.
He asks Tommy to take Ellie the rest of the way. Feels like he can't protect her anymore.
And Ellie's reaction, as the recap details it, wow, it's powerful. She confronts him, feels abandoned. The dialogue, it says, mirrors the game script directly, that whole I'm not her, moment.
Demanding to know why he didn't ask her what she wanted. It's intense.
And it works. It changes Joel's mind. The next morning, he calls her baby girl. Maybe slips, maybe intentional, but affirms she's his daughter now, not cargo. They're sticking together.
Their next stop, Colorado, the Firefly Lab. But when they get there...
It's empty. Abandoned camp, no one around. A real shock, the recap notes.
And their time there ends badly. Ambushed by survivors. Joel gets stabbed badly.
They escape, but he's fading fast, which leads into episode 7.
Which pauses the main story to focus on Joel near death, and Ellie desperately trying to save him. And the recap uses this to dive into Ellie's backstory via flashback.
Right, her time at the Federal Military School.
Shows her being bullied there.
And the choice the Commandant gives her.
Yeah.
Conform, play the game, maybe get some power, or resist and have nothing.
It's here she reconnects with Riley, her old roommate who had run off and joined the Fireflies.
And Riley takes her on this adventure to an abandoned mall. Fedra quarantined it because of infected.
But Riley ignores that. The recap describes them exploring the 4 wonders Riley planned. The escalator, carousel, arcade, photo booth. Just kids finding joy.
Until their noise wakes up an infected. A Renner. And in the fight, they both get bitten.
God. The aftermath. The recap highlights their different reactions. Riley's despair, Ellie's rage.
And the final conversation. Whatever happens, we don't give up.
Yeah.
Staying together until the end.
Back in the present, Ellie, remembering Riley's words, finds that needle and thread. She stitches up Joel's wound herself. It's raw, difficult, but the recap notes it saves his life. Closes the episode on that intense note.
Then, episode 8 introduces David. The recap identifies him pretty clearly as the season's main human villain.
A cult leader, right? Running a cannibalistic community, using religion to control people.
Yeah, the recap points out how his interpretations of scripture helped him gain followers. And it hints at the cannibalism early on, mentioning how David delays burying the body of a man Joel killed, waiting for spring. Implying,
Grim. Meanwhile, Joel's still really weak, wounds infected, food's low, so Ellie goes hunting.
Successfully takes down a deer. But then she runs into David and his buddy James. David sees the deer. Ellie needs medicine for Joel.
Offers to trade the deer meat for penicillin.
And during that exchange, Ellie puts it together. Realizes David's group is connected to the man Joel killed. She panics, grabs the medicine, bolts.
David sends his guys after her. Ellie tries to lead them away from Joel. Very brave.
But she gets caught. David locks her up. The recap gives a little backstory on him. Former math teacher, adapted, became this charismatic, dangerous leader.
Tries to manipulate Ellie, act all pious and reasonable.
But the recap notes Ellie sees right through him, knows he's dangerous.
Meanwhile, Joel, even though he's barely standing, he's up. He's searching for her, interrogates some of David's men, finds out where she is. He's coming for her.
Which brings us to the climax, spanning episodes 8 and 9. The recap reiterates David's rise to power, using charisma and twisting scripture.
Episode 9 starts. It's summer now, and the recap throws in a quick mention of Ellie's mother, Anna.
Yeah, links her to Marlene. Says Anna was bitten right after Ellie was born. Asked Marlene to look after her. That's how Marlene knew Ellie. Got her into the Fedra school, knew about the immunity. Fills in some gaps.
Ellie's journey continues. The recap mentions lots of visual nods to the game here as they get closer.
Until they finally reach the Firefly Hospital in Salt Lake City. And promptly get knocked out.
Joel wakes up. Marlene's there.
And she lays it out. The Firefly's plan. Ellie's immunity, the fungus in her brain, it's the key. But to study it, to make a cure, Ellie has to die.
They tell Joel he has to accept this. Sacrifice Ellie for humanity.
And Joel's reaction. The recap describes it as just immediate, absolute refusal.
He goes on a rampage, slaughters the hospital staff, the surgeon, everyone in his way to get to Ellie.
The recap digs into this a bit. Joel's action, is it selfish, valuing one life over everyone else? Or is it purely a father protecting his child? A direct echo of losing Sarah 20 years before. He won't let it happen again.
Complex stuff. Ellie wakes up in the car later, asks what happened.
And Joel lies. Makes up a story about an attack, says there are others like her. Immunity isn't unique. The Fireflies have stopped looking for a cure. He saved her.
The recap suggests Ellie knows, or at least strongly suspects, he's not telling the truth. But she doesn't push it. That famous, okay.
Right. And the material pauses here to acknowledge the acting throughout the season. How well the performances show the characters changing, the psychological weight they carry.
Then the final scene. Joel's promise to Ellie atop the hill overlooking Jackson. The recap calls it a safe ending, kind of providing closure for the season.
While leaving things open, yeah.
Yeah.
Expressing hope for season 2, focus more on Ellie, dealing with the consequences of Joel's choice.
So, wow. We've really walked through the whole first season via this recap. From that chilling origin, the brutal world, those incredibly moving stories like Bill and Frank.
The absolute heartbreak of Henry and Sam.
Ellie's own past trauma with Riley, and then that complex, desperate love between Joel and Ellie, leading to that decision in the hospital.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows how the show brought all those elements together, pulling from the source, but also building on it, creating something really compelling.
It really does, and it leaves you thinking, given everything we've just talked about, the nature of the infected, the fight for survival, the impossible choices people face. What does this world, as shown here, really tell us about what becomes important when everything else falls away?
What qualities end up being the most valuable when civilization just crumbles like that? And maybe for you listening, what would you find yourself fighting for in a world like The Last of Us? What truly matters then? Lee matters then. 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 Lee matters then.